Hey, hi everyone. I'll just wait 1 minute for everyone to appear here. It's okay. We're all here. All right. So here we are. Yeah. Wow. It's amazing how time passes at these retreats. It's incredible. Some, from the little self perspective, it seems like an eternity for some going through it, and then from the higher perspective, it's like there's no time. You know, it's like this timeless space of being just opens up. Um, so yeah, it's beautiful. It's so there's nothing more amazing than being in the heart of this kind of an experience. So for me, it's a deep honor to be part of people's journey in this way, and to watch as we go through this process. Um, I always say this is where the action is on planet Earth. Right here in these retreats, this is the place to be. Yeah. So I'd love to. I think I'm going to do things a little bit differently than I usually do at the end. I'd love to just hear from people. I have a few things that I'd like to mention. What I might mention, it probably will get mentioned just naturally in the course of things here. So if there's anything left at the end, I have a few things I talk about uh, just in terms of re-entry into the matrix and life, and what that means and the paradox of it. So yeah, first I'd like to maybe just start off, just acknowledging all the facilitators and Lila and Alex who have been really holding this container. Um, we can't do it without them. Um, it's amazing. Lila left a beautiful little note in the chat for everyone. I always encourage her to come and speak, but she's not. She wants to just put that message out there to all of you. So yeah, and maybe what I'd like to do today, I'm just gonna spotlight the facilitators here, and I'm just gonna put you guys in the spotlight just for a second because it's something I never do, and you guys are so awesome. And Lara, am I missing anyone here? Let me see. If I'm missing anyone, Lila, please spotlight them. That would be awesome. Yeah. Oh, and Lila, of course, right here. Add yourself to the spot. There she is. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So just big heart gratitude for you guys. It's incredible. Um, for those who don't know, the facilitators, they just do this out of the goodness of their heart. They just show up, because they get it. They understand what's happening here, and it's beautiful. It's somehow the people who are meant to be here just show up in this space. And yeah, so I'm amazed that it just all comes together. It's so beautiful. And I don't know if you guys have any words of wisdom, or if anybody wants to say anything to the group, share anything, you're welcome to share, or not. It's up to you. But I just wanted to really acknowledge. Yeah, Sheila. Yeah.
I'll just do a quick share, which is don't stop doing this work. Keep inquiring, keep witnessing. Dyad doesn't need to stop at 2 p.m. when the session is over. You can keep doing it. Keep dyading.
Yeah. Good message. Yeah, that's awesome.
I'd like to share something.
Mm-hmm.
This is just such an honor for me to witness everyone. And I was really in the presence of the one being. And it was doing experience for me. But something kept coming up, which you've told me. I remember you telling me about over a year ago that I really took to heart. And that was, if you never believe another thought, you are free. And I went through this dyad. I don't believe my thoughts, and I didn't believe anybody else's thoughts. So I only saw the one divine perfection. And I just wanted to say that if anybody thinks they're not awake, it's just a thought.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's all it is. It just literally is just a thought. This belief that I'm not awake. I'm this character. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just want to say something for a minute. I've interviewed, as you know, uh, dozens of awake individuals, authors, well-known speakers and teachers. And in my mind, in fact, I was just telling Lisa at lunch that so grateful that that the Awakening Mind Films, Leif and I met Dan and Lila. And this amazing collaboration that has taken place over the last 3 or 4 years. For me, if I have open space to do anything, to be anywhere, to deepen my own experience as being, it's right here. Awaken the World Initiative and these I Am retreats, there's nothing like them anywhere. And I go to Muji all the time. I bought a place there, and I just came back from being there for 8 months. And Sahaja is amazing. It's an amazing deepening of your of a meditation availability that's it's unmatched until you do these. And when I'm in a dyad as a facilitator, I feel like I'm drawn directly into and as the self in these dyads. And I could keep doing these, repeat, 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 repeat. I love being here. It just blows my heart wide open, and I love being a part of this. And all of you, I love what Sheila opened with, and I love what she closed with. Just keep dyading. It's your deepest relationship with yourself. And I'm just so appreciative that Dan, you and Lilla, and that's another thing I said to Lisa. I said, I love her connection with Dan is so solid and it's so fully and Lila's doing her first tech uh, position this weekend. Amazing, great. She
Awesome.
just fills whatever spot is helpful. And thank you, Dan and Lila, and for all of you facilitators and all of you guys that keep coming to deepen your own awakening experience. We're all on this in this journey together, and I love being part of it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Bill. Thank you for all your unending support. It means a lot. Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you, guys. Yeah, so I'd love to hear now from participants, and I'm just gonna unspotlight people and then spotlight participants as we go here. Yeah, and I love the message of continuing this practice. It's part of what I usually talk about in the closing talk is how, like we can do these formal dyads now all the time. We have selfinquirydyads.com if you guys don't know about it. So it's every night now. So you can always do dyads if you want to. So we have the formal dyads, but also life, as we really understand what this is, life becomes a dyad. Everything is working in this same way. We can inquire in every part of life, into who is here right now. Is it the script, the character playing out, or am I here? Is awareness here? And we can start to live life as a giant dyad, so every aspect of life, and our relationships, and yeah, and like even using the dyad technique formally in our relationships, we can use it to clear whatever's coming up. You can say to your partner, I have something to clear. There's something coming up now. Let's just just witness, and if you witness without evaluating, just reporting what's happening in the mind without labeling it as good or bad, it's an incredible clearing practice to bring into day-to-day life. So yeah, so that is the message. And continue, not only continue doing dyads, but turn life into a dyad. So I'd love to hear from Leif. Hi, Leif.
Mute. All right. Hi, everybody. Dan and Lila and everyone, thank you. And Sheila, thank you for your beautiful words. I love this journey. It's always deepening. And this last diet session for me, it got very deep. And I had another a beautiful energy release, another one of those. I had one of those in the last session. That was awesome. But what I'm noticing is I'm coming to the same place, and I feel very comfortable calling that place I am. Like I just kind of reach the floor, everything settles, and it's beautiful. And then I was thinking afterwards, you mentioned about the VR game, right? You have the character in the VR game, and what I was wondering is, did I just settle the character in the VR game down? Did I just calm the character down? Like, I don't know how close I am. Like, if I actually took the goggles off, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I, so I sat in on I think one of those sessions, at least one of them. So what I think is happening is like the character in the game, when we're just in the game, like attention is just on the character. So it's like we're making the game go quiet, kind of, so that we can, so attention, instead of fixating on the thoughts and sensation, the attention is just sort of resting open. And it's like awareness then is revealed, or it wakes up to itself. It's like we can start to see, the awareness shining through, or however you want to say it. So I think that's to me what's happening is, that awareness is sort of waking up to itself, just being here. And then, but there's further unfoldings then to that, because then we wake up from the game, but then we can go back into the game, and it's like everything can start to then wake up. I realize, I'm not the character, I'm not this, I'm not that, the neti, but then when we come back as awareness, as awakened consciousness, we recognize I am that too. Actually, I am the game. I am the character. I'm everything that's arising. So that's the crazy thing, and that part of it is ever deepening. That's the thousand-petaled lotus that just keeps blooming endlessly.
Beautiful. I was hoping you'd say that because I really definitely felt the deepening. I didn't want to be like, this is it. Like I can't go any further until I get out of the game.
Yeah,
But that, like you said, it's all the game.
yeah.
Cool.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Thanks again, and thanks everyone.
Thanks, Leif. Sylvina, hello.
Hello. Hello, Dan. Hello,
Hello.
Lila. Hello, the whole team. Thank you so, so much for this beautiful gift this weekend has represented. This format is great. It's amazing. I mean, the ongoing Dyads, day and night is something else. And it really brought a lot of insights and deep work, shadow work, and especially I want to highlight the connection with people. It's unlike the meditation, it's like a meditation with other. So that gives a whole different dimension to this, a whole different it deepens so much the process and the inquiry, and so marvelous.
Mhm.
So if there are other intensives, I will be here for sure.
Yes.
For me, it's important to have the group together and know that tomorrow we are still here, and that is something necessary for me at least, and so loving and so rich.
Mhm.
So yeah, I have no words to thank everyone, the whole team, and all of you people. Like love is, even if it's virtual, it's so felt, it's so real. It's beautiful.
Mhm.
So thank you, Dan, again for everything always.
Mhm.
And I have a question
Sure.
about intention. It came up in a dyad.
Mhm.
What could intention come from awareness, or it's only different qualities of intention that come from the self structure?
Mhm. It's a mysterious one. Like if I think of how, um, like from the perspective of the mind, if I like intend to directly experience myself, or if I intend to fall asleep at night, there's like a little, there's a little me, the character that is intending something, like there's the physical being that goes and gets into bed and has the intention to fall asleep. But yet the actualization of that intention, the manifestation of it into an experience, actually, we have no, it just happens. There's a just happeningness to all experience. So it's interesting when we really look, who is intending or who's making something happen. That's the mystery. Really, is there a chooser? Is there a doer? There's actually just doing happening. There's choosing happening. There's life is happening, but without a doer, without a chooser. Seems like there's someone, that little self will always take ownership over. It's like, I intend to do this, I'm making it happen. But when we look deeper, yeah, that little self is not. It's just illusory. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vernon.
Hey, Dan.
Hello.
There's a couple of things that I wanted to say. Most importantly, a huge thank you to you and Lila and the team. And when your first video came out, your first movie came out, I don't know how many years ago I watched that. And I remember seeing that and thinking, like, who produced this? Like, who's behind this? And I've been watching it develop ever since then. And what a gift you're giving to the world. I mean, just totally honor, I totally honor your effort and your work in that regard, because it's beautiful. And the little, I don't know what they are, these messages that you and Lil have been putting out, this, 10, 12 minute meditations, I guess, are coming right from the Tao, or right from sort of pure truth. Every one of them stands on their own. And it's like, all you need in life is, that's enough of a message. Like that says everything you need to know is right there in every one. Listen, like, how did you do that? Like, where is this coming from? It's like pure truth talking to me. And it's like the Tao is saying, inviting you into itself. And it's beautiful. I hope you keep putting them out as many as you can, because I absolutely love them.
Those,
wanted to say,
I think you're talking about the ones from with Lila's voice, right? With the I Am project. Yeah. Those are beautiful, and yeah, that's all coming through Lila. Like she's creating those. She's a vessel, you could say, for that. She's opened herself up to allow that to come through, and yeah, it's amazing. And just in the last year, that's come to life for her, and
amazing.
yeah, so that she's learned how to edit and Adobe Premiere and all that stuff. So that's all Lila. I do the sound, so we collaborate in that way. But yeah, those messages are the sources coming through Lila. Yeah.
When I listen to them at nighttime, I put on headphones, I listen to them, and I'm right inside that space, the music, the voice, and what the message is. I do some writing, and I think it's so brilliant. I think, wow, where's this coming from? It's almost too perfect. I don't want it to end. When I'm in that space thing, I finally arrived. I'm kind of in heaven. You know what I mean? That couldn't be in a better place. And then it's over, and I take the headphone off, and I'm back in my house, in my room, in my bed, and it's like the world just sort of shrinks down to the small space. But in a minute, everything expands into this wonderful universe of presence and consciousness and being and love and compassion, energy, everything. It's amazing.
Beautiful. Wow, thank you for sharing that. Yeah,
it's amazing.
Awesome.
And then what I wanted to also say is just a comment on the Dyads. Also brilliant. And yesterday, when I was exhausted from not having slept the night before, and other people were tired, and we were all saying we're tired, and I had nothing to say, and witnessing was exhausting. I'm falling asleep, and I thought, okay, that's for the end. And then today, it had such a new energy. The energy completely shifted today, and I'm sorry now it's ending, because I've just kind of realized how critically important Dyads were, and I saw that the way that the the inquirer and the witness, they work so well together. They're like opposite sides of the same coin. And I could see the inquirer as an experiencer, and that life is like, Shiva and Shakti. It's just consciousness and manifestation.
Yeah.
And we're in manifestation, and manifestation wants to become conscious, and consciousness enjoys manifestation. And the inquirer is the manifestation. And then when we're inquiring, we're saying what's happening here and what's going on. And we're bringing parts out, and what the intent is from inside these parts is to wake up. The parts want to say, I want to be conscious and present. And then 10 minutes later, we switch partners and we become the witness without realizing the witness is exactly what the other parts want. It's the conscious, pure consciousness. And we're calling it the witness, but the witness is pure awareness, and the witness is watching. And I love the instructions for the witness is not to participate, not to react, not to judge, and just to be present, and which is what witnessing is, which is what consciousness is. So in my experience as a witness, it's very difficult to be the witness because all this background noise and these parts want to participate. They want to get involved, judge or comment or agree or disagree, whatever. And the answer is no. You have to just be present, just be aware, just be conscious. So as an exercise, the exercise of being the witness it's like the exercise of life. It's just witnessing everything, and withdrawing from the the role of playing the drama and witnessing the drama. So both those parts play off each other, and they're both brilliant. So this design of this dyad process is, I mean, it's as brilliant as these productions that you're doing with Lila. The whole thing is brilliant. So
awesome. Yeah, Charles Berner, who he created this in the late 60s. The story goes like he actually had his own awakening, and it was such a deep awakening. He was in a samadhi state when he received the Dyad technique, and it like he got sort of the seed of it, and then it had to be sort of tested in the world and everything. But it's an amazing technique, and he probably back in the 70s there was no internet or anything, like he couldn't have envisioned doing it on Zoom with all these people. It's incredible. He started out with just a handful of people. They went out, I think, into the desert, to try out this crazy method, but yeah, it's brilliant. And wherever it came from, it came from the awakened state itself through Charles Berner. So yeah.
That's great. I don't know if they're doing it in the desert, but maybe they were. So what I see with this dyad process is like the big self, or the self is going into the small self, and the small self is coming back to the big self. So it's like the cosmic joke is happening right inside this dyad process, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I love your insights and the way you've sort of pointed to the whole thing. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody. Thank you to all the people I had the pleasure to partner with and experience. What an amazing group of people, and what a brilliant weekend. Just everything perfect. Thank you all.
Thank you. Go to Colin. Hi, Colin.
Hi, Dan. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, at risk of overdoing it, thank you very much. Yeah,
Thank you.
to you, to Leela, to the whole team. I had no idea really what this would be like, and it's gone in so many different directions that I can barely even comprehend it. And just the effort and presence within the team, to hold this together and to hold all of us on this journey. And there's always someone available or someone watching, and the openness to help has just been fantastic. I guess what I never realized was how you know, and I've heard you mention about it getting finer and finer. And the multidimensional aspect, I just had no idea. It's totally blown my brain apart. And the, you know, the subtlety of the insights and the subtlety of the connections and the understanding that's emerged in each of the sessions. And I just had this sense that it's like everyone's a mandala. They're like a sort of expression of consciousness as a mandala. And so and it feels like they're unlocking levels of myself that I don't have access to. And everyone being a unique expression of that is unlocking different levels of myself.
Mhm.
And it just sort of goes on. And so I'd like to acknowledge everyone that I connected with as well, because yeah, there was so many tears and so much seeing and so much humbling. Um, And I actually have two questions I'd love your perspective on. But before that, I'll just give you a little multi-dimensional moment that is quite out there. There was one moment where I can't remember who I was connecting with at the time. And I closed my eyes, as I sometimes do, just to drop into the space. And I just immediately found myself fixing a barbed wire fence with a farmer. And we were just getting right into this work. And, you know, of course, I didn't even question it because it's all me. And it was absolutely lucid. And then I just kind of went, wait a minute. And then I opened my eyes and I'm sitting in front of someone having the dyad process. And
Mhm.
all of this takes place in, you know, a few milliseconds. And so, yeah, just our multidimensional nature is, yeah.
Wow.
And so my question, just to get to the thing, and the two questions are related. One is I'd love to hear your perspective, Dan, on looking directly into someone's eyes, because there's something, it's almost like we create this feedback loop or something with consciousness, a direct feedback loop or something. So I'd love to hear your deeper thoughts on the significance of looking into someone's eyes and the power of that. And then the second part to the question is I experienced, because I've been in this different time zone, and there's been times where I've had all of this movement, you know, levels of myself and tiredness and all these things going on. But because of locking into the eyes, I am sort of containing the movement. And then it feels like the movement's on fire. It's
Mhm.
like I've got my face on a hot plate, you know, and I'm just holding my face on a hot plate.
Mhm.
And so my question there is, do you see the dissolving of distraction in that process?
Mhm.
Is that actually what's happening? Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's the
think
two parts.
yeah, I think those two things go together. Like there is, you know, like the way I see you know, most sadhana, you know, like meditation or, you know, yogic practices and all of that, you know, if you're just doing it on your own, it's slow. It's a slow moving process. But there's something like when you're looking into someone's eyes, um, yeah, it's almost like a magnetic you know, pull into this moment. And there's something about looking into someone's eyes that it just helps you be here now. You know, you're sort of forced to be in the present moment just by the fact that someone's looking into your eyes. So if you zone out, they're going to notice. You know, so it's easy to zone out on a meditation cushion or you know doing some practice, but when you're here, you're committed. It forces you to show up in this moment, and there is something special about someone's eyes. You know, looking in to someone's eyes. You know, like especially. You know, I remember, you know, by the end of retreats, like looking into people's eyes, and it's like you're looking into the universe. It's like incredible depth of just pure consciousness somehow conveyed through the eyes. So there is something to that saying the eyes are the window to the soul. You know, I think it it is, you know, there's something special about it. And I think it's a gift to be able to recognize it and utilize it in this way. I think that's what we're here for each other,
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Colin. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thorsten. Hello.
Hello again. Yes, all the praise that you just received is so well deserved. It's just it was an amazing experience, and I have to admit, I was skeptical because I couldn't imagine how this technique should work, and I don't know it yet either. But it's a mystery for me. It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah, for
and
me
it's
too. Me too.
it's really thank you yeah, for giving this gift to the world. And I just have one short question, because I mean, I also thank you to Lila for putting together, because sometimes it's a magic happening when you match up with certain people. And I mean, uh, yesterday I had 3 Dyads in a row with Fatwa, and it was great. It was just, oh, it's you again, and we were just getting deeper and deeper, and it was just, oh, again. This is just it's magic.
Oh, it's strange how that happens. Yeah.
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 And today, the day started with Monique and it ended with Monique. It was a perfect circle, and it was just, it was, and and now I come to my question, because I mean, there was so intensive moments with strangers. Is this necessary to have this diet with people you don't know? Is it stronger then, or doesn't it matter?
Mm. Yeah, I think the main thing is like to have people who are just willing to truly be a witness, to truly witness you. I think whether they're strangers or people I think what makes this technique actually work is the communication process. So being fully received. So whoever it is, it's like the people are interchangeable. It's all consciousness, you
Mm,
know, coming through. So I think, I've seen it work with people who know each other. I've seen it with strangers. So ultimately, it doesn't matter. And I also see how it is amazing. Like when you see, having a different person in front of you somehow will evoke or show you a different dimension of yourself. And it's, so having different people, I think is, there is something synchronistic in it that happens at these retreats where it's like we end up with the perfect person at the perfect time, and somehow the universe seems to orchestrate it for everyone. So
true. Yeah.
mhm.
And just one short follow-up. Is it like, it's kind of strange to put my laptop away and then it's over? Is it kind of an I don't know, is it maybe possible to create a space so that you can stay in contact with people? Because I mean, we have shared such intensive moments, and then it's over. And
Yeah,
on the other hand, it's strange to say, hey, can you give you let's share phone numbers. It's also I don't know. It's just
yeah. So there's an Awaken the World community website, so everybody
okay.
can go on there, and we're gonna share. Well, we have a big email that we'll send out. Um, so you can connect on there with everyone here.
Okay.
We're doing like the Awaken the World community. We do 4 meditation sessions, 1 hour silent sits every day. There's dyads every night on the selfinquirydyads.com app. So all the people here are welcome. It's free. You just show up any night you want. So you might meet up with the same people on there.
Okay.
Yeah, feel free. And if
Great.
if you if you guys want to share, connections or whatever in the chat on the side as well, like however you want to stay in contact, that's up to you
Okay.
guys. So yeah.
Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Thank you all, and
Hmm.
thanks everybody. And yes,
Hmm.
bye
Thank you.
bye.
appears.
Hi.
Hello.
And thank you very much. Likewise, and to Lila and the team, absolutely extraordinary. And I kind of I signed up for this, and it just kind of like suddenly the day arrived, and I was like, oh wow, yes. Had no idea really what to expect. I did the I am intensive in the start of the new year, and attended a couple of Dyads, but to suddenly be in this Dyad immersion,
Mhm.
absolutely just I've over the years I've done dozens of silent retreats, Vipassana retreats, etc. 10 days, 20 days, but really be so present with somebody else. And I said it to someone in one of them, to have this dynamic, fluid exchange, eyes open, and yet having such depth of awareness, and and in 48 hours, basically, wow, just yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's just seen so many things and noticed so many things, and it's just been quite profound. It really has. And so I have a question. It's been touched on already, uh, and it's about dyad in daily life. Like,
Mhm.
it's one thing to be doing this in this container, and I'm just thinking literally, like, could be my wife, and she's not into this, although she's very supportive of what I'm doing.
Mhm.
But it could be a friend. Um, it could be just walking into the shop.
Yeah.
There's somebody, a complete stranger, and I feel there's definitely some way to bring this into life. And it's
Yeah.
any
Mhm.
more guidance pointers around.
Yeah, sure. I'll maybe talk about a few things. So, so Charles Berner, this is sort of like the pinnacle of his technique, this dyad format. But he has also there's something that he just calls the clearing process as well. And so for people, like with my own family, I wouldn't, they're not into awakening and if you use that type of language or like, find out who you are, some people just aren't into that. But if you talk about clearing, it's a little more palatable for the average person, and so just clearing the mind, coming into presence and so that kind of language can help to, sort of bridge it for some people. And so in day-to-day life, like, yeah, you can, if you have two people, if something's coming up in a relationship, just, if you have an understanding of how, you share beforehand how this works, there's just an agreement that, when one person has something to clear, the other person will just witness it, and the beauty of it is, in relationships, like usually, if we're expressing something that's, big coming up within the body mind, usually it's accompanied by, evaluation of the other person, or it's accompanied by there's a charge to it. But if you bring it up within the dyad, you say it in a way that, this is what's coming up in the mind. So it's not that you did this or this, this is making me mad or whatever. It's like, this is what's coming up in the mind right now, and I just, I'd like to clear it from the mind. So it takes away all the, finger pointing and the evaluation that's happening in a relationship, and it turns it into just a practice. And so it's beautiful. It allows, because sometimes we don't want to express what's coming up in the mind. Even if we feel our it's just the mind's sort of petty anxieties and thoughts and all of that. And if we bring it up, it's just going to cause trouble in the relationship, and so we stuff it down. But then it just festers and it stays alive and becomes the pain body. So it's important to really, when these things are authentically coming up, even though we know it's not really who we are, or it's just the mind doing its thing, but it needs to be cleared. So this is how we can clear it in day-to-day life.
Yeah, because it's like in the Dyad process, as the inquirer, it's always self-referential. It's never about someone else or something else and what happened out there or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, I can see that now very much, like in conversation with somebody, especially if it might potentially be a charged conversation or an intimate conversation.
Yeah.
Sticking to that's it.
Yeah, it really takes the charge out of it, and the tendency to evaluate isn't there, because you're just sort of owning it. It's like, okay, this is coming up in the mind, and I just want to clear it. So yeah, it's a beautiful process.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's going to be an amazing venturing forth and into real life, as it were.
Yeah, it's a great testing ground. Yeah. And every even interactions with strangers, you can sort of be, you can drop into the witness as well. Like it's so powerful. When someone has a real story, or there's something happening, and like we always respond, but nobody ever just fully witnesses. So you can watch when you're just in day-to-day life. If you just secretly drop into the witness, it's astounding what will happen. If somebody has a complete communication, they could be in a real state of anger or sadness. But if you just drop into the witness, you watch them transform right in front of your eyes.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Thank you. Absolutely amazing what's going on in this space. Thank you so much, all of you. Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kyle. Hello.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Lola. I'll just start with this. Thank you for all the facilitators. Wow. Thank you to all the people I got to share space with. I mean, I guess the retreat was okay. It was really amazing. I did the 7-day I am retreat this past January, and it was really helpful. And I just want to dovetail on what Pierre was saying about, you were talking to Pierre about in real life. It was the day after the 7-day retreat, and I was talking with someone for a business networking thing, and they're an A driver type personality. They can't get out of their head. They can't slow down. They just can't. I mean, and he was going in his motions, and I just sat and I just realized about a few minutes in, oh my God, this is a dyad. And I'm the witness. So I'm just going to sit here and feel the inner beingness and just let him clear all his stuff.
Beautiful.
And then, and it was amazing because like 20 minutes was really cool. It was 20 minutes in, his eyes started to water up, and he had no idea why, but I did. And then after a few more minutes, he just commented like, I just feel great. I don't know what happened. I just feel great.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a sneaky way of clearing someone's mind. Yeah, just be that
Hmm.
witness. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So to Sheila's point, since that moment, I've just been dyading nonstop
Amazing.
with myself, with other people,
Hmm.
with objects. It
Hmm.
works with everything.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
I have the gift of being a therapist, so I can do that with my clients. And so that's a big thank you for the Dyad process, because I'm really realizing through this process and the gift that you give, the importance of that in a much more serious context.
Hmm. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
What modalities do you use in your practice? Are you like into the IFS and stuff like that, or?
So I think it was, I don't know if it was a recording or this one you talked about IFS. I think IFS is great.
Hmm.
I'm EMDR trained. I do ketamine, but really I just do
Oh,
Kyle.
oh, okay. Okay,
I
awesome.
just do, which is just pure
Yeah,
beingness. I
perfect.
mean, like,
That's the
like the
way to
last
do
week,
it.
I've
Yeah.
been, I've been turning my client. I had this really difficult client. I just can't get him to not analyze the sensation. So in the moment, I just had this curious thought. I'm just going to turn him into a cat and see what happens. So I turned
Yeah.
him into a cat, and for the first time, he actually played with the sensation at the end of the session. He was like, "That was amazing."
Wow. Wow. I've only heard about that type of ketamine, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I've never experienced it, but I've only heard about it, but it sounds pretty wild. Yeah.
He wasn't even on ketamine. He was completely sober,
Oh,
this
wow.
guy. But then,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I did this to sober people. I have to
Oh,
get
okay.
permission. I
Yeah.
subtly ask them, "Is it okay if I turn you into a cat?" And they're like, "Okay,"
Oh,
and then I do it.
awesome. Amazing.
Anyway, it's just wizard. It's just wizard stuff I figured out, but from this
Mhm.
process. And what I'll leave with is just that I've really done a lot of work just bringing my attention to the sensation of beingness. And it's something that really stuck out with things that you said that I haven't heard other places, but just kind of talking about the sensation really isn't the end. That's not the end. And so I just got with this process, with the diet process, and just getting really curious about relaxing into the sensation. The sensation is part of the trail that I
Mhm.
found.
Mhm.
And it would like lead me to like somewhere in my body that I felt some kind of tightness or whatnot
Yeah.
during the Dyad.
Yeah.
And so I just let it take me there. And then
Mhm.
when I got there, I would just rest.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
would just rest.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And I
that
would let yeah.
Yeah, so that whenever the conditioned self, the five skandhas and all of that is active, yeah, it is a contraction. So it's
Mhm.
it's a narrowing or limiting of energy, and there's actually a felt contraction somewhere in the body mind as well.
Yeah.
So
And
that
I'm a,
yeah, so that sensation leads you, when you feel that contraction, you feel the
Mhm.
release, then yeah, so then there's that clearing and opening. Hmm.
and I made the mistake of consciously associating the sensation, the ride, the wave as the healing process,
Hmm.
and didn't really see it for it's just bringing my attention deeply into self. And then the next step that I got from this intensive was just relax. There's really nothing else to do.
Hmm. Yeah, just being. And the more we can do that, the more that, the mind is just clear. Yeah, the more, that blissful free flow of energy
Mhm.
comes from beingness itself. So,
Yeah.
you know,
And when it would rush up, I wouldn't try to ride it. I wouldn't resist it. I wouldn't try to make it into an experience. I would
yeah,
just relax into the gushing feeling.
yeah.
And what came from that is I realized in a deep felt sense that I'm feeling the pure awareness hugging me. It's giving me love. And so I
Beautiful.
just I had a diet where I just said, yeah, I'm still hugging myself.
That's it.
I'm
So
just
that,
enjoying the hug. I'm
yeah,
just resting in it.
yeah, and it's endless, that bliss. Like, it's always available. There's no cause to it. It's
Yeah.
uncaused. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that when the yogis, when they talk about the Satchitananda, the bliss of the mind mind consciousness being, just that it is that bliss. So
Mhm.
that's it. Yeah, that's
But
the felt
and
sense
no
of
phenomena.
liberation.
There's nothing about it that's phenomena. It's
Hmm.
just ordinary and
Hmm.
blissful at the same time.
It's empty, empty,
Yeah,
empty fullness. Yeah.
yeah. So
Hmm.
it's just been a beautiful experience, exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
And life has been great. And you guys have been such a huge part of that. This
Mhm.
journey really, really kicked into high gear a year ago summer. And you guys were right at the beginning of that process. So
Amazing.
thank you so much. My
Beautiful.
one question is something that came up, and I don't know if you were directing at me every time, but you talk about not sharing about the other person's share. And I'm curious if there's a distinction, if I understand this correctly or not. And I used to have a character who is in AA recovery. And that character, when he would go to the meetings, the dollhouses that AA people go into, he would hear, the commentary of like, no crosstalk, which means you can't talk about someone else, you can't give judgment or advice, but they didn't prohibit it like speaking about your own experience as it might relate to the other person. And I'm just
Mhm.
curious if that's the same distinction in this group, because I would notice like I might say something like I felt a reaction to someone, so I might share, there might be connected to that, but it's really my experience. But I don't know if there's
Mhm.
a distinction. If so, if what's the
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
process?
totally. I would say it's the same thing. Like, yeah, we really just we don't want to evaluate someone or, make them feel like, they're the little self structure can, if you really resonate with it, then it's encouraging that direction. If you contract, then it takes them the other direction. So yeah, but if it's it quite often in the dyads, what someone shares it'll evoke naturally whatever's going to come up within ourselves. So there's a natural, so it is sort of a response, but it's not a direct referral to, or it's not like a comment on it. So yeah, so there's a dance with that for sure, and it's not. Yeah, that is not prohibited. Of course, that's just a natural outflowing of our whatever's happening. So yeah.
Well, thanks, Dan, for letting me do a dyad with you for a little bit. I always wanted to do that. Have a good
Awesome.
one.
Thank you. Thank you for that share. Yeah. Ole. You unmute there. There you go.
That's
Got it.
okay. Yeah, I'm speechless from this weekend. It's a really great thing for me. Will change my direction, I guess, or will. Uh, yeah, I'm very grateful, and like all the rest of us, I wanted to make it short. I think this platform, this method is so precise and so to the point that it's the best I have tried of this kind. I really think so. And how the team is working is amazing. It's like one thing, everything.
Beautiful.
When you,
Yeah, I've tried a lot of different things. This is my favorite tool that I've
yeah,
found. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
absolutely.
Hmm.
And I was amazed of the gradual process, how every diet is like a step down or up, or how you see it, but it's a step approaching the thing we are talking about here.
Hmm.
So I'm surprised that it works so systematically. In the end, in the last diets, I got a feeling that there is all these different components of the dyad, the other person, me, the question, or which is not a question, but the imperative, the space, it starts to mix, it starts to merge together. So in the end, I was kind of in doubt, who am I and who is this? And we are the same. And the question, and why does this witness show up right now? It fits so perfect to what I have to look at. And yeah.
Yeah, it's as a facilitator, it's amazing. It really starts to feel, if I do this for days, watching everything, it is like one organism. I hear, one dyad over here, then another, and like it's all the self, just sort of unwinding itself, and it's yeah, it is like a giant organism. Yeah.
I had this feeling that it's an exchange of gifts. It's like we're exchanging gifts.
Yeah.
And then the thought, who are exchanging?
Mm-hmm.
Just awareness exchanging gifts with itself, so to say.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I don't know.
such a mystery. Mm-hmm.
It's a mystery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it puts your brain on work, so you have to kick it away because there is no way you can grab that complexity and simplicity in the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
So,
Thank you. That beautiful share. Yeah. Thank you.
So much.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Go to Danny. Hello.
I just want to be quick here because I'm sure we're getting to the end here. And the gratitude and like amazing love, all that. My question is how subtle can this be? Like there's no explosion, but something's different.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's just like a little, like it's funny at the break before this, like during lunch, I picked up my book again, my Nisargadatta book. And when I read things, it feels like different. Like,
Yeah.
but
Amazing.
there's no like big experience. It's just
Yeah.
a very like small
Yeah. So
knowing, like,
yeah, and this is a great question. So, sometimes, when someone has sort of a classic Kensho experience, it's like a fairly dramatic flip within a short time. So there's the flip from feeling like you're the character to it's like waking up from a dream, and that can be in a moment, just a flip, but it can also happen gradually as well. So it doesn't have to be that. Some people will never experience that dramatic flip, especially if you're doing a lot of practices. People who've been doing practices for a long time, or they're doing yogic techniques, and have had various peak experiences. Sometimes they'll come to these retreats, and it'll be a gradual sort of clearing that's just happening, and because it's whatever that flip is, and the flip can sometimes people can have it maybe once or twice, but then once you've had that, then after that it becomes a clearing process. Whatever vasanas and conditioned patterns are still in the unconscious, then there is a gradual clearing, and a gradual establishing of that sort of open
yeah,
space.
that's it.
Yeah.
That word establishing, like it doesn't feel like solid, like
Hmm.
Like something flipped and it's just like totally different and it's there. But
Yeah.
there's just something very like, there's like, I don't know how to explain it. Like
Hmm.
if somebody said, like, I don't feel like I'm the body anymore. Like, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, there's just
Yeah.
like, I know I'm not. I know I'm
Yeah.
not. Like,
Yeah.
but there's no big experience with that. Like, it's
Yeah.
just sort of like a
And and
separating or
that's actually it's in my experience, it's that gradual sort of the way I describe it sometimes is it's like the character becomes sort of permeable, so yeah, it's not sticky anymore. I don't feel like I am this body or this character, and it becomes more and more permeable to awareness.
I wanted
And
to mention one of the facilitators. I can't remember. I wish I could remember her name, but the last thing she said was, if you just don't believe your thoughts,
yeah,
like I just want to give this to everybody. That today is what like
yeah,
like that feeling of every time a thought came, just not
yeah.
like you said yesterday, like it doesn't even finish before you're back in awareness.
Hmm. Yeah, that's it.
But like I said, this
That's
doesn't feel solid. So
Yeah. Well, so that insight is it, and now it's just about um, recognizing the beingness that's here now, over and over and over. The thoughts will come inevitably. More thoughts will come, but if we don't believe them, we just see that the thought, it is a contraction. As soon as I don't believe the thoughts, the energy is free, life is free, everything is happening right here. So that the bliss of just being here is always available, as long as but as soon as the attention goes on to thoughts, and there's that, it's whatever that is, Maya is that magnetic pull towards those thoughts, and
like
somehow,
breadcrumbs.
yeah, and it's like this sense of I um, comes into being, in the yogic tradition. They even have a word for it. It's like the I springs into being, and then, yeah, it's the illusion of this character that suffers. So yeah, so that's it. That's the whole game, is to not believe the thoughts, and to see how attention gets fixated on this whole world of changing phenomena. But as soon as
So
attention relaxes open to what's here, um,
it's
yeah,
just interesting how it's different or like it's just
yeah,
it's not one thing. It's
hmm, yeah,
a process that just happens differently depending on,
yeah,
I don't want to say the person, but
hmm,
I
yeah,
don't know what determines how it happens, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
think everybody is always looking for this explosion. And like that's one of the things I read. Stop looking for the explosion. It already happened when you were born. Like
yeah,
just just don't even think about it. Just
yeah,
be.
yeah.
Suddenly that makes sense. Like it's like suddenly that makes sense to
That's amazing.
me.
Hmm. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. It's beautiful that when it happens gradually, and there aren't those fireworks. In my opinion, it's better, or it tends to go deeper. Like it tends to make a bigger change in one's life, because if you have that flip, and it's accompanied by a strong, strong, energetic experience, like people can go into like a savakalpa samadhi state with an awakening, and that's where you experience yourself as everything, and it's an energetic high. It's like incredible, and it's so easy to mistake that state for the truth of who you are. So
Those
better,
states, like they can last for months or
yeah,
like I've heard people who are like that for like 18 months or
yeah, yeah,
and then suddenly they feel like it goes away and
yeah,
they're left with life
yeah.
again.
Yeah, and they go into a depression afterwards, or a dark night of the soul, or they go into, a monastery to try and meditate it
Get
back
it
or
back.
something. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so those states, it's yeah, that can be chased endlessly. I did it for 10 years, chasing states, and yeah,
Yeah, I've done it
so,
for a long time.
yeah, yeah. That's great. Well, yeah, thank you for
Thank
that
you. Thank
share.
you to everybody.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Anik, hello.
I always forget.
There you go.
Hello again, Dan.
Yeah, hello.
Again, thank you to all of you. There's such generosity. Like it's anyway, it make me want to give back even more throughout the world. It's working. Just a quick question: how do you, or in your experience, make a difference between? Because some thoughts can be useful, for example, to make decisions. So how do you differentiate between not following a thought that take you away from uh, presence, from a decision-making process? Is there, in your experience, like some guidance there?
Yeah. So for me, it's the energy around it. It's the sense of, you know, whether there's a sense of I in that thought. So is there an I that is invested in it, in some ways. So, so an example in my own life is, at one point I was making TV shows. I was like working in the television industry, and the character was invested in it, like making money, doing cool things, and working on the computer. And the computer was very, very draining at that time. Like it was like losing the energy. There was a disconnect. I wasn't, I'd be working on the computer, and but there was a disconnect from the aliveness. It was just the character doing it. It was like a pattern of wanting something from this, trying to get it done. So creating these TV shows, and then so eventually that actually led to a sickness of a mind body state. So the body got very sick doing that, and and now, I'm doing the same thing, essentially making films, but there's an aliveness to it. I feel like it's like life coming through and synchronicities happening, and there's a totally different feeling to it. So my feeling is it's not so much what you're doing, it's like who's doing it. It's like the Dan character that was like trying to make something happen in the past, got out of the way, and then it's like this is what life wants to kind of bring through. So that part of that will be, whatever thoughts need to come up as part of that. The mind is still engaged, it's still doing things, it's still clicking on things in Adobe Premiere or whatever, doing its taxes, all that stuff. So that, but the energy behind it, the doer, has sort of changed. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you for all those shares. So yeah, I think to close, wow, we're right at 2 o'clock. That's an incredible timing there. So yeah, so I'm just gonna there's a few things that I'm gonna mention. So when we go back to life, the one of the things that comes up, questions that comes up, and we've talked about this a little bit, this idea of integrating this back into life. And integration is an interesting word. Um, when you really see what's happening in this dyad process, You know, what is it that would be integrated with what? You know, it's like life is just here. Life is just unfolding. So the mind, you know, sometimes wants to turn this whole enlightenment or liberation thing into a project, you know. So it's like I have to integrate, you know, I have to do this project or do something. And you know, so if we turn this into some sort of project or practice, you know, that's again the mind taking control of things. So really the whole path is just to remember who you are in every moment. You know, remember who wants something other than what is in this moment. So Ramana Maharshi said, you know, there's an ongoing vigilance that never ends. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, all of these teachers, the greatest liberated beings who ever lived, the Buddha, Ramana, Dogen, it doesn't matter. They all speak of this ongoing vigilance, but it's not a vigilance to do something. It's just a vigilance to stay awake, or a vigilance to not believe the next thought. So there is, you know, it's like an effortless effort. So within the conditioned self, you know, there is a development process that is ongoing. There's a, you know, an energetic unfolding that happens after awakening. You know, when energy stops going into that conditioned self, there is a growth process that happens, a transformation within the self structure. So the chakras or the inner lotus and all of that starts to grow. The different dimensions of human experience will grow out of that. So that's all great. It's beautiful. That's, you know, there are these different blooms, different flowerings that can happen within the self structure. But we don't, you know, the little self doesn't need to worry about that. We don't need to treat any of that as a goal. It's just, you know, we just tend the garden basically, and allow that to unfold. And we tend the garden by just staying awake, just not believing the next thought, and just being. So just being is the beginning and end of the path. You know, it frees that energy. And, you know, Rumi had a beautiful poem where he spoke about, you know, becoming like a hollow flute being played by the music of life. And I love that. You know, to me, that's kind of what it is. You know, we hollow ourselves out, or we, you know, we you know, become available for life to move through, and it's a mystery then, you know, what will unfold from that. Yeah. And you know, to help you on your path, we have you know, at Awaken the World, all these different things. We're going to share some different things in the email with you. There's a beautiful book that you know, like when you've been in a retreat like this, it's you know, really reading, and you know, we know that the truth really isn't, you know, these books and pointers, they're all pointing to what's here now. But sometimes you know, we go back into life, and if we feel like you know, the window is, you know, of consciousness is getting covered in dust again. You know, some of these pointers can be very powerful. Or, you know, when other beings have had experiences on the path. Sometimes it can just show us where we are on our own path. So I'm going to share some of these pointers in that email with you guys. And there's a lot of you, I think, attended Av Nuria's retreat last week. Quite a few of you were there. Av is an amazing pointer, an amazing vessel. And there's a book that he wrote called Liberation, and it has a very powerful transmissive effect. It can help someone, especially after an awakening. Quite often, the conditioned mind will come back, and the awakening happens because the mind has sort of dropped away, and we find out who we are in the moment. But then when the mind comes back, the mind says, I did it, I awakened. And the mind takes ownership of it, and it can start to construct a whole spiritual persona around it. And it's the most common thing on the path. I think I haven't met a single being who hasn't gone through this process. So Av, in this book, he really sets out in his own journey, how this happens, and it can really help to unstick someone on their path. Really bring into consciousness what's happening, because the most sticky part of it is that when the mind comes back and takes ownership and says, I awakened. So there, I love Suzuki Roshi said, there are no awakened people. There are no awakened people. There are only enlightened actions. And I love that. And I think there's a deep truth in that. The person is not what awakens. The awareness awakens from the personness or the character. So any character that, any person that says I'm awakened, it's inherently problematic. So yeah. So we're going to share all of that. And so let me just see. I have a few more things I wanted to say. Yeah, I think what Sheila said is just it, just keep going, on the path, like really take time to do dyads. Do whatever it is that is your sadhana, whatever form that takes, whether it's just sitting, just being, but it's that constant vigilance to just notice when attention has gone back into the mind, into thoughts, believing the whole script. So that is our sadhana, just to see the mind and not believe it. There's no goal. There's no end to all of this. It's just to see the setup, the human condition, the setup on planet Earth, and how it works, how we, the setup seems to be the matrix designed to hook attention into all of this that's happening. And and that hooking in right now, it's like the magnetism of that is very, very strong out there now. So our sadhana is so important now. And for me, it's not about awakening is not about reaching some point where it's like, okay, now I'm good, I can just like enjoy life. No, it's I mean, yes, we fully enjoy life, but there is this ongoing vigilance or practice, or just abiding in, what we know now is that, the true peace and true happiness doesn't come from the objective world. It doesn't, nothing out there is going to ultimately satisfy, maybe it'll satisfy the character for a short time, but true fulfillment doesn't come from the objective world. It only comes from the truth of my being that's here now. When I just allow what is. Yeah, so it's been a true privilege to be part of your journey, and let's stay connected, stay in the Awaken the World here, and I hope to see you all around, and feel free to reach out, and just let us know what's happening on your path. We're just a Zoom call away. So thank you, everyone.